collage of different kinds of
I'm a
music.
composer.
It's like,
I'm a composer of electronic music, and I compose political music, and I'm still living. The question is, how?
Good afternoon to everyone. I, Judit, I, Celine, and I, Hans, and Christopher, of course. I'm very happy to be here, and I wanted to thank the Norient Festival to invite me to moderate this session. I wrote about the film, and I have different perspectives about the film, as Celine and Judith know, and its perspectives that you address in the film. So we're going to start. We're going to address those questions, views, and perspectives during this conversation, I hope. But I wanted to start with a more personal question to Celine, because you in the beginning of the film, you mentioned that Fado helped you to feel more complete in a foreign culture, because you've been living in Lisbon for 20 years now. So I wanted to know, what did you miss, and how did Fado fulfill that gap?
Right. So I think when you move from one place, when you move to live, not when you move on holiday, but when you move to live, you have to, it's almost you have to build yourself again. Because I think as human beings, we often, our construction is often depends on our social structure, our family, our friends, the work perhaps we do. So when I arrived in Portugal, I had to build all this new again. I didn't come for special work. I was basically following my family, my husband. So I was like a blank page. So what I found in Fado is I've always loved music. I've grown up with music. I played music when I was younger, and what I found with Fado is this kind of direct relationship you can have with the singers and with the performers, and that I thought was just amazing, just to be there, to be surrounded by the musicians, and you had an active part because you couldn't how do you say. Sorry, my idea is a little bit all over the place. But like you play, you almost have an active part because you listen, but you're also an active listener. Like we also say in the film, actually, to be a fadista is not just the one who sings, but it's also the one who listens. So you have a role. The role was given to us like that, and we didn't have to prove who we were, where we came from. We didn't have to speak the language necessarily. It was just basically active listening, and immediately we're part of that community. And that's what I found in Esquina da Alfama, for example. I'm not saying all Fado places are like this, but Esquina da Alfama, I definitely found that place very quickly. And later on at Marta's place as well, on a different level, because he was like also younger musician. So it was this kind of a sense of belonging without having to try too much. It's almost, and it's really like a family that welcomes you with open arms. I don't know if that's clear. It's very different from sitting and having the musicians on stage than to be, in the place and having the musicians directly with you. I don't know if, did I reply?
It is clear. I just wanted to know if your first live experience with Fado was in these bars, or it was a different one.
Actually, I can't remember the first one because in Lisbon, like Fado is all around. So even if you don't sit, you walk in the streets and you listen a little bit. So I can't remember exactly. It was like so long ago. Mm-hmm. And as I said, it was something like almost, it's music I think I always heard a little bit, also throughout my childhood, but without knowing it was Fado. So it was always like, I'd always heard it a little bit. So it wasn't like, wow, what is this straight away, So it was more of a gentle approach. What I know is, for example, at the time, there was some places like you had to pay a minimum of, I don't know, 20 euros to come in. And I tended to avoid those places because I just thought, you end up maybe paying the same amount, but I like the place where you can sit and maybe you can just have a drink and maybe you move on, Now I have a different opinion on that, but that's more because of how things have evolved in Lisbon. But at the time, I was really trying to avoid those places and just go to the places where you can sit and you're just welcome for who you are. and you just listen. And as long as you listen and you respect, you're fine. You kind of welcome in. That was my experience anyway.
Judit, we know how Céline was introduced to Fado because she tells in the film. And what about you? How did that happen?
Well, I have got a different relationship with the country and the culture. I used to live in Lisbon for 2 years, but I was not rooted in Lisbon. I didn't have to start with a blank page. It was just, living there for 2 years is just enjoying the culture and the people. And I have got, up until now, I have got a very strong connection to the country and to the culture. Fado for me was more like the internationally known names. Like I went to Fado concerts, big Fado concerts in Lisbon, and then later on in Hungary, wherever there was a Fado concert. Marisa is one performer who is very regularly visiting Budapest. So I always went to listen to Fado. But only when I met Céline and she took me to listen to Ivone Días, who is one of the characters in our film, in Esquina da Alfama, I understood that this kind of Fado is something very, very different. And as Céline says, the music, the atmosphere, the connection with the Fado singers, being in this little Taška, in this little Fado restaurant, it just gives you a completely different experience. So I fell in love with Fado there, with this different kind of Fado, the very first time we went there with Céline. And then later on, when Céline met Marta, and we knew that Marta is on board and she will be part of our film, we went to Taška Beat, to Marta's place that she created in the middle of the Alfama, the historical center of Lisbon. And that was an experience for a lifetime for me. I mean, there, the sense of community, the authenticity of the place and the singers, it was really amazing for me. So I fell in love with Fado through those experiences.
And what does Fado means to you both? And how was that the starting point for you to decide to do this film?
Shall I?
Yes, so you can start, Céline.
So the starting point was clearly Ivone. I think I'm not even sure if we say it in the film now. I've almost forgotten the film.
You say it, and
but yeah, I think it was Ivone, definitely the starting point. Because also that was another thing that actually I didn't mention about my encounter with Fado was when I heard Ivone, and before Ivone, there was this little Taškas where you had the Fado Vadio, which is the people who are not professionals, but they go from Taška to Taška and they sing their song, and then they move on and they go to the next Taška. And that was also amazing because I was coming from Geneva. I'd been working in the opera house for many years where it was very professional and you had to be like the top musicians, to make it. And for me, just to have this kind of Fado Amador, like amateur, kind of amateur musicians, even though they're not amateurs, it was very, it was just like totally new experience, completely new experience for me. And also the fact that you could sing later on in life, it wasn't like at a certain age that's it, your career is over. So that was also very, very new, so yeah, that was. Did I reply to the question? Sorry, I think I just tend to Vadiar. I'm kind of going off topic. Sorry. Did I reply? No.
Yes.
So it was Ivone. Yeah, Ivone was the starting point. Sorry. And telling the story of that woman, yeah, that amazing woman that kind of made it later on in life. I think it was it, no, Judit?
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, Fado for me, as I said, it was that feeling of closeness and community and the culture and the people. And when Céline took me to these places, I immediately understood her very special relationship with this community, and I was really amazed by it and taken by it. But it was very interesting that I fell in love with Fado as soon as we went there. But then when we were, after the shooting of the film, we knew, we had this idea with Céline that we're going to build the story of this film on the lyrics of the songs, of the Fado songs. And because my Portuguese is far from perfect, of course, I didn't understand all the songs. And Céline came up with all these ideas, you know, oh yes, and this song is perfect for this part of the story, and that and the other song is perfect for that one. And I started to really look into the meaning of the songs, and it's just really beautiful, the lyrics of these songs and what is behind it. So I soon discovered that it's not only a genre of music for me, but it's poetry. So I became a Fado fan, and I've got my playlist of Fado on my phone, and I regularly listen to Fado because I like it so much.
Ivone is not, she's not just a character in your film, in your documentary, she's also a friend of Céline. So I would like to know what made you approach her, and how did that friendship started?
I think just the way many friendships start in those Fado places, you know. I think if you go there enough times and people recognize you and you start chatting, it's like the same with this character of the film, Luis, you know, who is the guy that tells me a lot about Fado. We just became friends like that randomly, you know. And Ivone, obviously a bit more, because every time I was going there and I was listening, and then she knew I knew that I love that song of the 20 anos. So every time I would go to there, she would say, your song is coming soon. And every time she would sing my song, you know, I didn't have to ask, but she would sing it, and she knew that every time I would cry and whatever. It was a little bit game with us. But so it is kind of very natural friendship. But I think Marta will agree, probably it's not so much friendships like then you call each other all the time, or you see each other regularly, you see each other at certain times, so you have those friendships over the years. But it's not I don't know how to explain. They're not like they're strong friendships, but you cannot see each other for several months, and then you see each other again, and then it starts again. So that's how we became friends. But yeah, every time we see each other, it's just like big hugs, and yeah, I just love her. But the same way, you know, with Marta and I, it's become the same with Marta. We don't see each other a lot, but when we see each other, it's always like, yay, you know.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's nice. It's really nice.
So since you mentioned Marta, hi Marta.
Hi.
So I would like to know how did you met Céline, and what made you decide like to be part of this film?
Hello, everybody. My English, okay, for you,
Very
with
good.
special heart, my English. So I met Céline. She contacted me. She went. I think you went once.
Yeah, I went a couple of times, I think, but I was
Yeah,
like,
but before we met, yeah, you were shy. Yes, it's
I was
true.
like always sitting behind. Like,
Yes,
she's
yes,
amazing.
yes. And then one night we speak. You come to me, less shy, and you propose to me. You explain your film, and yeah, you know that when you have a place like we had and Tascas in Alfama, many people come to us to make a documentary, or you know. So I really in the first time Céline talked to me, I thought, well, it's okay. It's another person making a film about Fado, and with the time I understood that it was a different project. She didn't want only film Fado, but she really want to discover with the image what is behind Fado in our time, in these special times. And this was very very precious for me, because then I met also Judit, and it's wonderful also that it's women's. It's because it's it's incredible that it's a film with so many women, because we speak about Fado, so we speak about night, creatures of the night. And it's interesting that it's a woman film. I think it's a woman film in the night about Fado, and it's very special for that also. And well, as we are, as me and my companion of work, as promoters of culture, it's very touching for us when some project like from Céline and Judit look to us and look to see what we are doing to this city. You understand? It's very important for the promoters that have other people in love by culture realist, cineast, like in this case, that want to speak about our work. We need to speak about each other works. I think it's one of the solution in the future for all of us in culture, that we promote each other more and more.
And Judit and Celine, what was your reaction when you heard Marta for the first time? What did you find it was different in her Fado from the more traditional Fado?
Well, I remember the first time. Well, yeah, the first time I went, I think I said in the film, I was completely wow, you know. And for me, I remember because at the time Tashkabit used to be outside also. They used to, in the summer, they used to be outside the Tashka, not where we filmed, but outside. And there was tables and you just eat. And suddenly this woman, she was dressed, you know, as a waitress, and she comes and she sings. And it was Rosina dos Limões, I remember very well. And it's actually one of my favorite songs.
Your favorite song?
Yeah, it is my favorite. And you know that also. And it is. And she started singing, and I was like, this woman, she's like Edith Piaf of Portugal, you know. She was so natural, and she was really small, and she was like, like this, and the voice was going everywhere. I was like, wow. And that's why I think the first few times I came, I was very shy. I was like, I was too impressed by Marta to even talk to her, you know. I was like, oh. You know? And so that's the first time. That was the first time I went there. And also Luis, the guitarist in the film. Also, I was also totally taken by him, and Jean-Marc, and you know, all the people there. But it was. I remember it was very, very strong, very strong. And Judith, I don't know, we went together, right?
Yeah, we went together, and it was already inside. And actually, we were filming Ivone during those days, and then Celine said, "Oh yeah, and let's go to Tashkabit in the evening." So the team came with us. So our cinematographer Gábor Halász from Hungary and Frida Schwal, who is the sound engineer in the film, we went together. And I remember going into this little Tashka, little place, and it's hard to describe charisma, you know. It's just it was just amazing, you know, all the people together, the community feeling together. And I remember Gábor wanted to film right away, and we said, no, you were not allowed to film yet because we haven't spoken to Marta about it. But he was also so taken by the experience that we said, okay, this is a place we right away have to film and you know, just have it on film because it's just so amazing. And then we went back later on and did the film.
And Fado is, of course, like the main theme of the film, but Alfama, I could say it's like the second, Alfama after Ivone and Marta is like a second character in the film. Why Alfama, and why just Alfama and not other neighborhoods from Lisbon? Considering that what's been happening in Lisbon in the last decade with all the gentrification and all that, it's been happening in all these old neighborhoods that also where Fado is also very important. So I just wanted to know why just Alfama and why Alfama?
I think Judy, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was very organic. It was a very organic way. We started by Ivone, then we met Marta, and then we were just there. There was so much going on in Alfama because obviously it's a documentary, but it was super. Everything was happening here and there. So where Ivone speaks to the lady, you know, to the ladies in the street, and that was just happening. We were just randomly walking in the streets, and people would come. So Gábor would take out his camera and start filming what was happening. So nothing was really planned, you know, apart from, of course, you know, we met Marta, we met Ivone. So there's some things which were organized, but it was very, very organic way of filming, I think. And I think by that time we had so much, and we thought if we started Moraria and Barro Alto and whatever, we're just going to get lost, you know. So it wasn't just because we prefer Alfama, or it just happened, you know. Of course, the other bairros, you know, just as interesting and just as important to mention, but it just happened, you know, it just happened that way. And then it was also the songs that we chose in the films, and it was a lot linked to the Alfama. There's actually one that talks about Moraria, but we kind of cheated a little bit because we're not filming Moraria. But yeah, I think it was this way, no, Judith? It wasn't really a conscious choice of going, let's go to Alfama.
Yeah, I think it very often happens with documentaries that you have an initial idea of what you're going to make a film of. And it was, for us, it was definitely, we started off, you know, these amazing life stories and women who are Fado singers and created these communities, and they are just fighting for their art and being able to sing. But there was a turning point in the film where we definitely felt that we're talking about more, and it's when we got to know that Marta has to close down Taska Beat, her place, Marta and Jean-Marc. And we definitely felt that this is a point where we have to talk about not only about Fado and the music and the community, but go into the details of what is happening in that part of the city. It's also affecting everybody's life. It happened so quickly in the last few years in all over Lisbon, but I think Alfama is a very symbolic place for that.
Yeah.
Old tenants had to move out of the historical center of Lisbon. They live outside. A lot of them live outside of the center, and the community is somehow damaged or hurt because there are less and less people, less and less original places in the center.
Yeah. So then, about halfway through the film, we steer into the political topic of what is happening to Lisbon. And Carlos, the character Carlos, tells us what's going on. He says that there's this amazing quote that he says in the last 4 years, Alfama lost 30% of the people living there. Mm-hmm. It's very dramatic. But I mean, so what is, can you tell us what is going on there?
Well, basically, 20 years ago, the Alfama was completely derelict. People wouldn't even go there. Even Portuguese people I knew, were like, we're not going to the Alfama. It's malfamada, like they say, it's malfamé in French. How do you say it? It's got a bad reputation.
Yeah.
And it was very, very derelict. I never felt, in danger there, but it was very, very popular, very, very poor. And of course, as Carlos says, suddenly foreign investment came, people just saw an opportunity to make quick money. And then, of course, there was the rise of Airbnb and this kind of, mass tourism, quick tourism, cityscapes and everything. So everyone, I think every other person I knew had something to rent somewhere in the area. And it was a very easy way of making money. So they would just basically buy or do up for themselves and just rent it. And you would say to the people of the Alfama, they say, you used to hear people screaming from window to window saying, oh, Maria, give me blah, 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 whatever. And then what they would hear in Alfama was the sound of the wheels on the pavement, because it's those paving stones, and it was like this. So
the luggages. The luggage.
And now, of course, it's a nice desert, because for other reasons, obviously, but now it's nothing. And we don't quite know what's going to happen because those places are closed now,
And just one more thing, that I think most of the property in the Alfama was a rented property, and people were renting for generations. It was a fixed rental price, so it was very difficult for the owners as well. So as soon as it was lifted, the restriction on the rental, and as soon as the property was bought up, those people who have been living there from generation to generation, they had to leave because they were not able to afford the rented pricing. So this is the reason why people are moving out of the city to the outskirts. It happens many places, I think, in big cities in Europe and other parts of the world as well. But I think Lisbon is the last 5 years, and it has changed really rapidly. It was a very dramatic change.
So do you think Carlos is right when he says the problem is a lack of regulation?
Yeah, absolutely. And then then there's been other regulations, like I think a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, suddenly you could buy a property in Lisbon, but not doing it for Airbnb or not doing it for tourism. You had to do it for fixed rents. But then that also created some sort of, it's all quick fixes very often. And as Judith said, it's true. I mean, rents were frozen, but the problem is I mean, now it's very difficult to rent anything for under maybe a studio for under 500-600 euros. But those people, the retired people like Ivone, they may be on 300-400 euros a month of retirement. So there's no way, you know, they were maybe on rents of 70-80 euros. There's no way they can pay full rent now. So it's just the way things are. So I think it's of course, now there is regulation. They're trying to put regulation, but it's always a quick fix. It's not really very much forth planning, you know. But I'm not a politician, so I don't want to criticize them. I think they've got very hard work generally.
Yeah.
There's something as a Portuguese, I have an understanding of Fado, but Celine, you've been living here for too long, and Judit, you also lived here, and you made a film about Fado. So, and you mentioned in the film about the longing and sadness that is associated with Fado. For you, as like I'll call you outsiders, but don't take me wrong when I say this. Okay. How do you perceive the listens? How do you perceive the songs that you listen and the people that sing them? Like, how does that come to you? What's the feeling you get when you listen to them?
Whoa, we could talk like 3 hours about this. So Judit, go ahead, and then I'll try and be brief after, because like if you get me started on this, I don't stop.
Sorry, Judit, to interrupt. If it makes it easier to, I would like to more focus on the way that these feelings and the longing and the sadness of the people that sings it translates to you, someone that's wasn't born here in Portugal, but lives here.
Well, first, my first knowledge of Fado was that it is about longing and sadness. And it's funny enough, but when I went to the Tashkas and listened to Fado, I realized that it has much more color. And it's not only sad songs, it's also happy songs. So it's a whole range of human feelings and attractions, and it's, for me, it was novelty. It was a very, very new experience. When I first lived in Lisbon, it was only for 1 year, 13 years ago, and I came home to Hungary. I'm currently in Budapest in Hungary. When I came home to Hungary, I had this funny feeling that part of my soul was left there. It's hard to explain how it happened, but somehow I was just feeling this belonging, and I think that feeling was very close to the longing what Fado talks about, that you have your very strong emotional connection to a place, you're away, and you just feel that you would like to go back. And it's not only a place, it can be people, it can be situations, cultures, feelings. So for me, I think there I really understood what Fado is about and saudade is about.
I think it's very true what Josie says, that this kind of something in your soul. And I think if you let Fado, for me, I think if you let yourself listen to Fado without thinking too much, and without blocking too much, saying I don't like Fado, I like Fado, whatever, but it just almost goes under your skin, you know, and it's something that just goes like this, and where you can listen to it and feel this sense of longing somewhere, whether you're here and you long your old place, or whether you in your old place and you long for here. So there's this kind of thing that connects you to something you've lost, I think, and it's not necessarily to do with the lyrics, but it's just the music. It's a very I don't know, I think it's quite a deep music. I mean, sometimes, you know, I'm in my car and I put Radio Amalia and just listen to it, and it just immediately connects me someplace. And it doesn't, okay, not all the songs, because that, you know, not all the songs resonate with you necessarily, but it kind of connects you to somewhere in yourself, almost somewhere you've lost, or you're longing, some friend or some country, or, you know, and that's how I felt it. And I think that's why also it really helped me to ground myself here, weirdly, because it was always kind of bringing me back to other places, but at the same time being here. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yes. So I enjoyed when we go out into the suburbs, we meet this kind of old men who meet all the time for a kind of community Fado club. and they have this very nice argument about the state of Fado, where one of them says, you know, Fado now became recognized by the United Nations as an important cultural property, but it did us no good at all. And then someone else says, you are completely wrong. And actually now the members of our little club, they can go and sing in other places. So there is some benefit. And one of the club is doing this to show that they are fighting. This is very funny. So what do you feel about that club and you know, and the United Nations?
Yeah, the UNESCO is a cultural heritage from the UNESCO. Well, this club, I think, you know, I think Portuguese people, well, from what I know, the Portuguese people I know are very resilient people. So no matter what happens, they will keep on gathering, they will keep on singing Fado, they will keep on, you know, even in the pandemic, we saw some places we filmed and now they sing together instead of being, you know, separate. So I think they will keep on singing Fado. They will find ways. Of course, the emphasis, unfortunately, and the money always goes to the big ones. Like, so in this case, I think they refer to Marisa, which is a very big international star who sings beautifully and everything. But for me, this is not really Fado. It's not the essence of Fado. You know, like being on a stage with like loads of musicians is not exactly, it's something else, but it's not the essence of Fado, because Fado is the community of people. So I think they both have they have valid point, but I think they're right. I don't think actually being how do you say, a cultural heritage has brought anything directly to the association. Absolutely not. You know, maybe it's helped to make Fado known outside borders, but it's not really, hasn't really brought anything to them. It's always the same, you know. You have the top ones that get all the success, and the little people at the bottom that just keep on struggling, but it's equally valid what they're doing, you know.
But I think it shows how deep it is in the Portuguese communities and Portuguese people, because it was really amazing to go outside into this housing estate, and it was not the typical Fado-like place as a tourist. You don't see people singing in those places, but it is, you know, the Portuguese people, if they move further away from the center of the old town, they still keep on singing Fado. They still keep on having their community there. They set it up and they sing for themselves. So I think that's what is shown there.
I wanted to know, since you're here, I would also like to know how it's been for you this last year as a promoter and as a singer of Fado, not being able to perform live and probably not having like the experience that you used to have until this pandemic started.
Yeah. Well, if I'm very honest, I think it's, of course, for all of us, it's very hard and almost impossible to imagine that for an artist can happen that. So it's very dramatic, of course. But if I look in 2 years ago, already I put many questions about what are you doing as artists in a city as Lisbon. So I think with this situation, we understood the importance of an artist in a city. We really, before this epidemic state, I already feel that we need more places to meet each other. Culture, it's not only cinema. Culture, it's not only a theater. Culture, it's not, concerts. It's not literature. It's meeting. I think we really need to understand that. This film, it's about Fado, of course, but it's about meeting. It's about community. It's about how through art, how through music, we can meet each other. We can know each other. This is the main question of all that. And with this situation that we live, I think it's the time that we are really obliged to think what we are doing as an artist here, that we can avoid that how we were 1 year ago. As Céline said, it was only money. It's nothing happened. It's the importance of the culture of Fado, these little places, it's that. And they are heroes They are really heroes. We were heroes also with Tashkabit. You were heroes making a film as we may make in the night with all your patience to the crazy nights of Fado. So congratulations to all of you two girls, because I think, and one thing I think also, Ivone, being a woman with the age of 86, it's very important. I'm very proud to be next to her. When I met her for the first time in November, Saint George, yes, the premiere, December, the beginning of December, yeah. She was telling to me, "Oh, it's you, my son," he said. "So you get ready because you are not the only one star in the movie." And I said to him, "What? Who is the other one?" And then he said, "Yes, in the cartaz, como é que se diz cartaz?
The poster.
In the poster, it's you and another." So, and she said to me, "I really like the way you sing. It's a fresh way, a new way to sing." So it was very important to me to know her, because Céline, she spoke to me about her. Céline and me, and Judit, we have 40. We are in the Casa dos 40. Estamos na Casa dos 40.
Yes. Thank you, Marta, of course.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, no, it's me now.
You still are. You're the only one.
Yeah, and well, I'm only catching you very few years. And Ivone, she's a bright star for us that arrived to the 40s, 50s, saying that there is a new life. And I think also this is a future also, the age, this will be transform anything. And I hope that the culture and the places that we meet can make us think, because we speak about that, about thinking. It's when we meet each other that we start to think. So I'm only to say that there is many things in this film, and Fado, it's only a vehicle?
Yeah, a vehicle.
A vehicle.
To think about the other things in life. So thank you so much.
To wrap up the conversation, and I'm sorry this is going to be a more like a kind of geek question about image, but I'm very interested in those things. The name of the film is Silence, Silencio, and for who may not know and is seeing this, watching this, Silencio is something that's requested when Fado is playing. Those people have to be totally quiet. You can't hear anything. So how it was for you, Judit and Céline, to be in these venues, these small venues, like filming songs that require silence. How did you feel?
Well, it was quite a challenge, I think. Well, if you've seen filming before, then you know that it's an act with quite a few people, a lot of equipment, technical stuff, and everything. And these tiny little places like Esquina del Fama and also Tashkabit, it was quite a challenge. But well, we had the team was really Céline, cinematographer, sound engineer, and myself on the spot, and we were just trying to make the most out of it. And also you have to know that in these tashkas, it's actually food. They serve food. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there was the camera, there was half a meter maybe to the next table, and there was food taken in front of the cinematographer. So we had to, you know, move around and try to, but I think it's also the charm of the whole process. And probably this is the way how we could really reflect the atmosphere of these little spaces that we were crammed into that little place, and try to give back that mood and that atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think also we're very lucky that in both places, in Esquina del Fama, like in Tashkabit, and also in Akov, you know, people welcomed us. I mean, the owners of the place, they welcomed us, and every time we put a sign saying, you know, we're filming, so the audience also knew that we're filming, you know, they're being filmed, and maybe if they don't want to be filmed, they come back another time or so. So we also made sure that, you know, there was some sort of agreement and people wouldn't know that they, you know, they just go and they're just going to have a normal Fado night or something. And so I think it was quite smooth in the end, even though space-wise was quite challenged. And also to kind of tell the camera, just film that one now, and that is happening, and you know, and the team that Judit brought from Hungary, Gabor and Fritzi, I mean, they were just amazing. They were just like they're two big guys, really. You know, Hungarian guys, like in their 60s, but they're very, really? They look like little mouse, you know, they move like woo, and you hardly see them, and they're super connected together. So actually, they were very, very discreet and very professional. So they didn't disturb anything, and they understood also the challenges of filming in places like this.
I really would like. Sorry, André. I really would like to say something only about the silence, because in Fado you don't have micro. So in many other bars of little bars, you have always micro in the music bars, and in Fado you don't have micro. So this is something that I really love, because I work like that with other kind of music without micro. It's in love, and this is acordo. Como é que se diz acordo?
Agreement.
Agreement, yes. Agora estou a contar com vocês, pronto. An agreement between public and singers, and this is very, very treasure, because without micro, it's where is the treasure and the silence? Why you ask silence?
Yeah, and I think it is mutual trust almost, and that's so immediately you build a relationship, and I think that's where this kind of relationship starts, and the community feeling and everything, because you have this kind of trust. You have to trust each other, I think. Also, no, Marta?
Yes, when we say silence, it's because you already, as an artist, as a singer, you give your voice without micro. So it's a trust. You need to trust that the people want to hear you, and it's very interesting, that kind of love.
True.
I used to live in a building that has had a Fado venue, and I used to live in the 4th floor, and the place used to open at midnight. So sometimes at night I used to go there to have a drink or to have some food. And I learned that I could only go there when no one was singing. They would only let me enter when no one was singing. So I would be in my window just listening to when it stops, so I could go downstairs and go in to have a drink or some food.
You know, André, now I remember, Céline, you remember that in cima da Tascabit, under the Tascabit, there is a hostel.
Yeah.
So sometimes the people come from the airport, they go to a room in the window of the hostel, and then they get out, they come in the break, like you, exactly like you.
So just to end up this session, thank you, Judit, and thank you, Céline. Thank you, Marta. If you want to say something before we go, please say it now.
No, thank you. For me, thank you very much, and thank you.
Oh, sorry. We have one question from the audience. Is there any chance to reinvent something unique like the Tascabit, or is Lisbon no longer a place for it?
It would be great. I mean, if anybody hear us and has got a perfect venue for Tascabit, just send in your proposal. But I think Lisbon is the place for it. For me, I mean, it would be amazing. I think so many people are expecting that. No, Marta, we want you back.
Yeah, even if it's not us, someone can do it. I hope. I hope Lisbon.
It should be you.
Yes. Well, I can. Yes, but I think I hope Lisbon become the city for that again.
And I think Lisbon is still an amazing city, despite everything. Despite the rise of tourism, despite what is happening now, it's still an amazing city. And I think people should keep on coming, but just maybe in a different way. But it is still beautiful, no?
Yes, and with this break, I think it's the time to think the city, no? For what we've become.
Absolutely. But yes, if anybody's got a venue, please contact us, contact the festival,
that I must say that the film already brought us many good things. the first premiere, there were 3 people who come to us to offer possibly a place. So we are in contact with one of them, very interesting invitation. So it's, yeah, this is culture.
It's a start.
Transformations.
Well, that's good news, Marta.
Yeah,
yeah, very
but,
good. You can... Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we, I think it's you, Céline, who always says that this film was made with love, and we really hope that now that it gets to the international audience, people will find the beauty of it and also identify with the different layers of the film, either with Fado, with the music, with the city, with culture, community, and because this is why we made this film, to call attention and to make people aware how important these things are nowadays.
And just to give you my perspective, I think Lisbon is always like a blank canvas in a way. So I think it's very easy to the city to reinvent itself. Although it's been a little bit destroyed in the last 10 years, but I think there's still chance to go to another place. Not necessarily to go back, but to find new places to make these things still exist. So if anyone don't want to say anything more, I would pass the word to Chris, and thank you all for participating in this, Céline, Judit, and Marta. It's been lovely talking with you and be part of this beautiful conversation.